This is not usually the way I start a new guitar, but unfortunately the unboxing and the initial impression of the guitar that I normally do upstairs in my living room, that piece of recording was corrupted and could not be recovered. So here it is. It's a Fusion T in pink. Yep, they say this one's pink. Looks mauve to me. With the roasted neck. The locking tuners, which are very nice. And the Roswell pickups. And I like the arm that has the friction screw down here that you can adjust. So when this arrived, this is the end now, but when it arrived it had two pots, and now it's got the third pot, and we'll go through all of the segments that I've got to this point. So the specs, this is what I received. This picture that I've got up here behind me is the box unpackaged with this guitar and 4 or 5 gig bags, I can't remember. And that all came in one box. That was one order. And then the second segment, which is down to the bench, is right coming up next, where I start to work on this thing. So this was a B stock. I yet to this day cannot find out why it could have been a B stock, but yes, Fusion T HH specs also coming up on the screen here, and we shall get to work on it and show you how I got from that guitar lying on the gig bags to this finished product. Here we go. This bag they sent me is kind of like tore up with this arm in it. This bridge, that's a friction bridge. This is similar to the bridge. It's the same kind of Wilkinson. This is the one Wilkinson, you know, like 112K. Similar to the one I was working on yesterday for the IYV ISSY 200. Has a Wilkinson bridge like this. And again, it's sitting on the body, which of course I cannot have. So I just kind of plugged this in. I want to bring it up to some kind of pitch and to give these strings a little bit of a stretch. So whoever played with this one did a little bit better job with the tension on the springs, but it's still blocked down even though I'm at full pitch. I have too much tension on the claw. So it's going to be take the back off and have to release that so I can get some you don't have to take the back off, but I'm going to take the back off anyway. Stand by. The IYV didn't have the openings here for the screws. Alright, we're going to see. Okay, so the springs on this are quite heavier than what I had on the other guitar. So obviously I need to let it out. They always put Phillips head screws in here, and they're always a little buggered up. I changed them out in the IYV for square ones because they're just better. and they don't bugger up as much. Alright, this might be a good size to fit in there. Yeah. I like all the options I have with the screwdriver, with all of the different, I've got Torx, Phillips, flats, squares. Yeah, all the range of sizes. And it cost me all of $4 at the dollar store, Dollarama here in Canada. Alright, so we're going to have to release the claw. The screws were also a little too short on the IYV. So it was only yesterday I had my first time ever with this type of a tremolo system. And I used my knowledge that I gained with the Floyd Rose to kind of do this one, or this type. Alright, let me pull that back up again and see if I can get some height off of the fretboard. Tuners are very responsive in all directions. Okay, with that tension, ooh, it's only off the body a tiny little bit. The action is high. I'm going to bring down the posts a tiny little bit. It's probably this one. Screw that down into the body a bit. This one's right underneath the string. On that side. I had to do a similar thing on the Ivy. And now she's sitting right on the body, front and back. So that is not a way to go. That is not a way to go. Come on. Let me out. Okay. The treble end is off the body more than the bass end. Doesn't have to be up that high. I know they say to loosen the strings to do that. So I'm going to just put a dab of synthetic grease. Right around the back end of that post so it's not just raw metal on metal. Okay, so both sides are now about even on the front. Okay. That means that I'm going to have to release the claw even more to get the tension up. Okay, I can bring that up. Not much. Darn. They're not going down in pitch at all, even though I'm trying to release this claw. Let's see. I don't know how much meat there is on these screws. I'll probably have to take one all the way out just to validate it for myself. Okay, that is flat with the body. Alright, it went down some. Hopefully this will pull it up a little bit more. The acoustics on this is really good. And I got grease on the string. I got grease on the string. I'm wondering what's wrong with the acoustics on that one. How did we do? Alright, it's just a millimeter over, not flat, aiming towards the front. It's not that high yet. Try to get it from this side so that there. It's just a millimeter higher in the back, which of course is not high enough, I found, on the other one to be able to pull back on it without hitting the body. Anyway, yes. So it still needs to come up more. And for that, I need it to have a lot more output. I'm going to see if I can take out a spring. Ah, okay. That gave me a little bit more up. Yes. That gave me a little bit more up. So 3 springs seem to be too strong. The springs are just massive in this thing. Wow. So this is the dance you do with this style of bridge to try to get it centralized with a certain tension that will hold the pitch in tune and give you the mechanics that you're looking for as well. I don't use the whammy bar anyway, but because of the style, because of the style of the guitar, I want it to be able to try to make it work the way it was designed. Okay, now that's way up in the back. Okay, so see how high that got? That got really high. See? Because I took off one spring. So we restart the dance by screwing in the screws and try to find a happy balance with only 2 of them. So now it should be over pitch. Alright, how is that? Okay, so that's very close, that's very close. And I think it could work like that. Now let's see where, and that's just the first part. Then you've got to look at your action which is at this point really, really high, which now means I have to bring down the front a little bit now that I've got the back up, because the travel on the saddles on this thing, to go down, not a lot of place to go down. Not a lot of place to go down. It's only about 1 millimeter off of the plate. So you got to bring the front post down to get your action on your string height to come down, so that you have some adjustment capability with these steel saddles. So front is not bad. It bottoms out in the front as well, and it's hitting where? Oh, I know it's hitting. Is it the block? Is it the block? Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's going on. It's actually way in deep. There's screws on the back of this block. There's protrusions, I think, where the screws come down that go into the block from the top plate. There's 3 of them that you can't see because they're under the saddles, and those protrusions are hitting the back end of the routing at the top of the body. So I think that's about the best I can do with it at the moment, because it's hitting there. I had to use this yesterday with the other one to not damage the surface of the guitar. Stop it. Just to hold that in place there, so that wouldn't damage it on that corner. So let's see what we can do about getting it closer to pitch, and the action height on the fretboard. I think the truss rod needs a touch up as well. That's good. Oh yeah, the truss rod needs a touch up. Can I use that? Yeah. Give you a little bit more torque. Alright, let's see how that did. And it usually goes a little more for me. Wow, it's really tight. Alright. That's a good eyeball in. Now, let's see what the action height is. Whoa. That's 4 there, so it's 5 or 6/64ths up there. It's pretty high. So the only thing I can try to do is lower the saddle at this point, which would be this one. Now there's a balance between the front saddle screws and this screw here in the center, which is a 2mm. You loosen that to adjust the intonation, but when you lower this or you raise this, the front also pushes or releases against the screw as well. So if you're lowering it, the front, that means that this screw here becomes loose a little bit. So you've got to let these out or screw them down. In this case, we're going to go down. Oh no, we're going to go out because I want them to go down. Sometimes you get your direction mixed up. Yeah, it's almost going to bottom it out, and then all of a sudden this becomes really loose. And you got to tighten this screw up. And try not to change the intonation. I don't know if it was right on or close to it or... Okay, I've lost it because it went down. It's close, it's just a tiny bit flat. Just a tiny bit flat, one notch. So that's not so bad. Now there's no tension on that screw whatsoever. That means that it's at the bottom of travel there. And I can get this one off a little bit. And just put a little more tension on that. There. The saddle is now going to be resting on the plate in the front. So the front set screws are doing nothing. So I just got to touch them so that they're snug. Just make sure that's snug again. And how low did it go? Did I get into the ballpark where I needed to be? Yes. I now have 4/64 exactly. I've lost some height in the back by screwing in those screws now. So it's a dance going back and forth. I'm not going to continue this at this point because it's really long. I'm going to have cut out some of this video because at this point that I am right now, it's just coming up on 40 minutes of twiddling with this, and that's way too long a twiddle to show, even if I speed some of it up. So I've got to continue doing this dance until I find the exact setup with these strings before I end up taking them off, cleaning up all the body, and trying to do my electrics work on this. Hey guys, we finally got to the bench. So the twiddling went on for a while till I finally got the balance with the two springs in the back. Had to take one out. There was just no way it was going to work with the three because the screws had to come out this far to work with these springs here, and like I said, these are really heavy springs, really a lot of tension, heavy gauge, and with three there was no way I could get this to balance out because these screws are way too short. They would have had to but in essence there was almost no stretch to the spring whatsoever once I needed it where it was. So one came out and I found the happy medium after much ado. And we're going to twiddle up the 65 here and see what happens. There she is. Alright. In all its glory. No effects. And she's full up. And what have I got the amp on over there now? I think I turned it up a tiny bit. Yeah. It's a hair above 2. I've been getting tinnitus in my ear, ringing, because of the position. Here we go. That's quite bright for the humbucker, not split. Neck. And I did adjust the pickups. Not bad, not bad. Actually might be a little bit louder than the bridge. Yep, and it's set right. So it's picking up more vibration here than it is there. We could lower that a little bit to balance it out. Let's see what happens in the middle after going neck. Just a tiny drop because of the position. Okay, so everything that you would expect from it. Let's try the tone. I don't know what's in that because I haven't opened up that back cover yet. It works mostly okay with the screw down there. It goes to there. A tiny bit, about a halfway around, and then it mostly from the second half all the way around is where you get the rest of it. Okay. And the volume. The volume starts to work right away. Alright, let's split it. It is very thin on the split. Wow. Yeah. Very thin. Could mitigate some of that with adding a Fralin resistor for the second coil to keep some of it on. Nope, I almost dropped that. Let's try the neck. More usable without the Fralin, I guess, because of the position and its current height. It probably, once it's down a bit, I'll test it, and it might just need to have a different value between the two for the second coil. The tuners on here work really nice, very smooth. Can't complain about them whatsoever. The neck feels really good. I haven't touched anything on it yet. They're fairly smooth. Nobody else would complain about it. Down here, they're a little bit of, they're not sharp. They're kind of like just a rough edge on them that I like a little bit more rounded. But, really good out of the box. What people would probably consider excellent. This tusk nut is cut perfectly for the height. I don't have to do anything with the nut. I got the action exactly where I needed it. Look at that. That is some action. And if I can spin this around, You can see that the bridge, the back of the saddle, and back here, is up a tiny little bit. The card is deceiving. It's up a tiny little bit, so it's canting forward a tad like that. That was the only way I could get it to set, so that if you pull back on the arm, you know what, you're not going to be digging into the body. So I still haven't decided what I'm going to be able to put underneath there. But as far as the rest of the guitar goes at this point, one that I'm not going to have to do a lot of work on to correct anything. Stand by for the rest of it.